welcome to the Avian channel. Today I'll be giving you another book content. I'll be sharing to you the books that really made me cry. So just a big disclaimer, I'm not a big fan of sub-stories. I'm more on action thrillers, legal thrillers, spy novels, as you'll see on this list. But there are scenes or twists in these books that I'm about to show you that I really couldn't help but pick up the napkin and use it on my eyes. So I hope you enjoy it, and please do comment below on your own list of books that are cry-worthy. First on the list is Protect and Defend by Flynn. I'm trying not to lose the focus of the camera, that's why I'm doing this. This is part of the Mid-Trap series written by the author. It's about a guy who works for the CIA, and actually this is like the 7th or 8th book in the series. And you know, I've been with this guy from book 1, and so I can't help but feel sorry for him when he lost his wife, and after 2 years he's still reeling from the hurt. Coming from a guy who's like did so much for his country, and for the only happiness to be taken away from him, I just feel so attached to the character. I couldn't help but just stop reading for like a week, and because I had to mourn. I had to mourn for the guy. And so this book, this is not the book where his wife died, but it's kind of like the real thing, wherein if you just lost someone, you kind of don't feel it immediately. This is how I felt. So the pain of the character, I actually felt it in after the book where his wife died. So second on the list is The First Law by Lescroart. So there's a guy here named John, and you know, he's kind of a bum. I mean, he was caught in a frame-up. He was framed for murder, and the reason why he was framed for murder is because, you know, he was someone who doesn't have any motivation in his life. He was kind of a bum. I mean, he did own a bar, but what I meant was, you know, if he went to prison, nobody's really gonna miss him, and so that's why he was chosen by the bad guys to take the fall. But you know, he met this really nice lady, and he realized that, you know, he could really fuck this up. He had a chance of enjoying the rest of his life with this really amazing lady, and he realized that there's only one way that he can solve this. He should face the bad guys head on, and so he did that. But you know, he had a practical sense of writing a letter to that amazing lady, because he honestly thought that he could die at the encounter. And so one of the really teary moments that I had with this book is when he wrote the letter, and there was that line there that said, "If I don't return this time, it's not because I won't, it's because I can't." And I just bawled my eyes out, because you could really see the change in him, the regret. You know, it's like one of those times when, you know, your appreciation and your regret is too late. And so third on the list is The Chamber by Grisham. It's kind of a long book, but it's really action-packed and it's fast-paced. And there's this guy here. What really got to me in this book is that there's this guy here who's supposed to take the electric chair for a crime that he did like 40 to 50 years ago. And it was so anticlimactic, and I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just that and the middle of the book up until the end, it was there was really this chance that he was going to escape the death penalty, because apparently he was just an accomplice. So he really wasn't supposed to get that kind of punishment. But in the end, he was so accepting, and he was so resolved to accepting that punishment, because he felt like, you know, a lot of people were hurt for the things that happened years ago, and all I'm looking for is forgiveness. And he wasn't really expecting forgiveness from the people or from the relatives of the people that got hurt, but all he wanted to do was be able to have that chance to say sorry to them. And that was just so sad, because, and I'm not trying to glorify crime, but it's just it just gives you another perspective as to, what they were thinking, or what they think afterwards. And it's just, it just kind of makes you feel like there's hope for everybody. You can't change the past, but you can make people see what's right and what's wrong. So I think it's kind of cool. Fourth one is another entry by John Grisham, The Client. And I suggest you watch the movie as well, because the performances are really fun. And I kind of had a crush on the little boy in the movie. He's kind of old now, but yeah, I think it still looks good. Anyway, so in this book, there's like an 11, 12-year-old boy who's being hounded by the mafia. That's kind of like the plot of the book. And what's so sad about this is that, he's he's a very street smart kid, but it's like the problems of the world are on his shoulders all throughout this book. He's got a mom who's trying to make ends meet. He's got a very sickly brother, and on top of that, the mafia is trying to kill him. And he's got this one friend in the form of, or in the person of the lawyer named Reggie Love. He had deals to make with the lawyers and with the mafia, and all the deals that he had to make, he had to think about his family. And he was just 11 or 12, and he had to make these decisions. But what really got to me, as I've said, is when he was already supposed to undergo, and his family undergo, the witness protection program. And he was supposed to go on the plane, and the lawyer, Reggie Love, came up to him, and Mark asked Reggie Love, "Am I going to see you again?" And the lawyer, he was really a kid, full of hope. Will I ever see you again? And the lawyer just said no. And that was so sad. I had to put down the book because of that. So, and last but not the least is Evernight by Claudia Gray. So actually, this is a series I read in high school, and this is not the book that made me cry. It was the fourth book, called Afterlife, a series about a vampire hunter who falls in love with a vampire. And in the fourth book, he dies, and the girl didn't want him to die, so the girl bit him and made him immortal. And he didn't like it, because he would have much preferred to die than become the very creature that he despised, which is a vampire. Kind of ironic, because he was having relations with a vampire. But anyways, a kitten is a kitten, right? You can just see the depression in him, the way he lost his will to live. He kind of hated both the lady in his life and his own self. He just couldn't accept the fact that he was now a vampire. And it was kind of sad, because he was the strong character in the first 3 books, and the change in persona is just really, it's kind of sad. But this book as well, the romance aspect of this book, it's really so romantic. There's a lot of toe curling scenes in this series, so you really have to check it out. Folks, so that was my list of books that really made me cry. I hope you like and subscribe, and don't forget to comment on the books that really made you cry as well, so that I can look it up. Bye. This is